Hello, and a very delightful welcome to another weekly podcast by yours truly, Dr. Delectable, Simply Tip Top Incredible, Johnny J. So thank you to all of you out there who turned out in last week's brilliant discussion we had on football and why women just don't understand our passion. We had some great calls, especially from Big Pete. He was one crazy character who I'm sure won't be getting any women in the near future. Right, let's move on to this week's show. We're going to be talking about branding. So, branding, what is it? And what does it mean? We see branding every day, but exactly what is it used for? And how powerful is a brand when it comes to marketing? Right, and let's find out a bit more about this topic and dig a little deeper into the world of successful marketing and branding. We talked to some leading specialists in the field of marketing management to find out just what is involved in designing a hot brand that gets people to part with their hard-earned cash. Now, we spoke to Marcus Alinki from thisismarketing.com, but unfortunately, we weren't able to get him on the phone, but we did manage to get him to send us an email which went into great detail about the importance of a good brand name and what actually are the main objectives for successful branding. I won't be able to read his email in its entirety as it could take us a while, but I will synthesize through and pick out the relevant parts. Mr. Alinki tells us that a brand is a name, it's a term, design, symbol, or any other features that might identify a seller's good or service as distinct from those of other sellers. A brand might identify one item, a family of items, or all items of that seller. A brand name is that part of a brand that can be spoken, which include letters, numbers, and words such as McDonald's or Burger King. A brand name is often a product's only distinguishing characteristic. Without this, a company could not identify its products. To the consumer, the brand name is just as fundamental as the product itself. The main role of a marketer is to establish a distinctive brand, which can be easily remembered and recognized by its target customers. Another part of establishing a good brand is the use of a brand logo. A logo is a design as an important area of graphic design and one of the most difficult to perfect. The logo, it's also known as an ideogram, which I just learned today, is the image embodying an organization. Because logos are meant to represent companies, brands, or corporate identities and foster their immediate customer recognition, it is counterproductive for a frequently redesign of logos. Mr. Alinki is completely correct here. It only takes a couple of minutes to scan the shelves of many stores or online, and you can identify logos with the brand names. For instance, we'll look at Tesco's and the distinctive blue lines on their shopping bags, or the tick or the swoosh that Nike use in many of their advertisements and often advertise the swoosh along with the brand name, and it's widely recognized. Changing this swoosh to anything else would be highly detrimental to the brand's ability to be recognized, and sales would plummet. Things I'm sure Adidas and Reebok would love that though, but I can't see that happening anytime soon. So I'd like to thank Mr. Alinki for taking the time out of his busy schedule to send us that brilliant email. So from me, I am thanking you. So right, we still have a few areas of branding to cover. So it's our great pleasure to introduce on the line Mrs. Sheila Shebeson. Hi there, Mrs. Shebeson. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, cheers.
Good. Now thanks for taking the time to speak to us this evening.
It's not a problem, Johnny J. Glad to lend you my expertise.
Thank you very much. Right, today's topic, as we all know, is about branding and marketing. We heard from Mr. Alinki earlier, who enlightened us on what a brand is. Now Mrs. Shebeson will offer us further knowledge into the important subject. The floor is yours. Can you enlighten us on how branding affects us, the consumer, and how it plays such a big part in our lives.
Well, a brand is a complex symbol that can convey up to 6 levels of meaning. 1. Attributes. A brand brings to mind certain attributes. For this instance, we will use Mercedes-Benz.
Okay, yeah.
Mercedes suggests expensive, well-built, well-engineered, durable, high-prestige automobiles.
That's for sure.
2. Benefits. Attributes must be translated into functional and emotional benefits. The attribute durable could translate into the functional benefit. I won't have to buy another car for several years. The attribute expensive translates into the emotional benefit. The car makes me feel important and admired.
That's right, yeah.
3. Values. The brand also says something about the producer's values. Mercedes stands for high performance, safety and prestige. 4. Culture. The brand may represent a certain culture. Mercedes represents German culture, organised, efficient and high quality.
Yep.
5. Personality. The brand can project a certain personality. Mercedes may suggest a no-nonsense boss. 6. User. The brand suggests the kind of consumer who buys or uses the product. We would expect to see a 55-year-old top executive behind the wheel of a Mercedes, not a 20-year-old receptionist.
Yeah, that's definitely true. If we were to compare Mercedes-Benz with someone like Kia, we would see that Kia is designed for the customer who is looking for a vehicle that does the job and meets the basic needs, but keeping the cost low, while Mercedes exceeds the basics by adding luxury and comfort, but an added price, which brings exclusivity. Another key point of any marketing strategy is brand positioning. Am I correct?
Most definitely. Brand positioning is concerned with what the brand actually does and with what it competes. In other words, brand positioning starts with the physical or functional aspects of the product. For instance, if we look at Canninger Dry Ginger Ale, this is positioned in the UK as a mixer for whiskies or brandies rather than as a soft drink, which would lead it to compete with the likes of Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola and 7-Up.
Yep.
Similarly, EasyJet.com portrays itself to be the internet's favourite airline,
Yep.
distancing itself from the high cost and long-standing airlines like Virgin and British Airways.
Yeah, so basically, picking your battles and putting yourself in areas in which you have better chance of winning with regards to getting more customers.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's brilliant. Thank you for your time today, Mr. Sheepson. Your knowledge is impressive and was very helpful. Hopefully our listeners have learned something today, and again, thank you for your time. Well, listeners, I sure hope this has helped you with any branding and marketing queries you may have had. Right, our show's producer over here thought it would be a good idea for us to analyze a specific brand. With her being a huge animal fan, she's demanding we look into an animal-based brand. So earlier on, we put this out on Twitter, Facebook, and on email to see if the general public can suggest an animal-based brand they would like us to analyze. Steve on Facebook reckons we should use whiskers. I know Buffer, our producer, is loving this idea. She is a huge cat freak, but sorry Buffer, I'm gonna say hell no to that one. Megan on Twitter reckons we should use an exotic animal brand, such as Exoterra or Zoomad. Well, Meg, that's a pretty good shout. I do love my exotic animals, and I know analyzing this instead of a cat-related brand will really piss off Buffer. So, whoa, Buffer's giving me some evil eyes right now, so I'm gonna get past this bit. So, Exoterra. Some of you out there will know what it is, but then again, some of you might not. So, Exoterra, what is it? Well, it's an exotic animal brand that designs everything you need to keep your exotic pets, such as snakes and reptiles. Let's take a look at their website. So straight away, we notice they have big, bold wording and jungle-ass design with a lizard looks a little like a gecko between both the words. This automatically makes you perceive this company is part of the animal industry, or at least it has something to do with animals, especially reptiles. The brand is placed on their packaging and on the items of their goods to make sure people know who it is that has made these products. Exoterra is trying to brand themselves as the leading expert in exotic pet industry, with their team of staff carrying out reptile research along with expeditions around the world. This alone will automatically say, look, we know what we're doing. You can buy our products and you're getting the best quality for your reptiles. We pitch this brand onto Facebook and Twitter to see what you out there think of Exoterra. Tell us about your experiences with them, what you think of them, are they any good? And does the logo and the brand name capture exactly what they are selling? Okay, it looks like we have our first response. It's Barry on Twitter. Barry tells us that he has been using Exoterra for the last few years to house his bearded dragons. He says, I'm totally happy with their brand and their goods. I've never had a problem with the reliability of anything I have brought from Exoterra. I would highly recommend them to other exotic pet owners. The brand initially caught my eye as it looked like the part, and the goods, especially their vivariums, were well designed and built. Well, okay, thank you very much, Barry, for that comment. Oh yeah, looks like we have quite a few comments coming through right now. Let's turn to Facebook and a comment from Malcolm. Malcolm tells us, hey Johnny J, I own a pet store in my local town of Blackburn. We stock Exoterra items such as vivariums, heat and UV lights along with enrichment items, and they sell really well. We also house our reptiles in the shop in Exoterra vivariums. It's because we believe they are good quality items. People come in to the shop looking to keep reptiles for the first time and ask our advice, and we tell them Exoterra is the main brand to buy. Wow, cheers Malcolm. So it looks to me like a lot of people use Exoterra, not only for general public, but for the professionals that own reptile stores. So, what does this show us? Maybe Exoterra have tapped into a market area which has no direct opposition. It seems they have marketed their brand as some kind of organization, making it more than a brand, but something people can buy into, people can believe in. They take this further by hosting shows all around the world that show their goods and offer advice into correctly keeping reptiles. So, Exoterra has built a brand that people can rely on, and because of their work with conservation and research, the consumer has faith in what the brand stands for. Personally, I believe Exoterra, without going completely mainstream, has took their brand as far as it can go, but with advertising on television may help increase the brand to get to a large audience. Hell, scrap that! Let's take it further. Exoterra could follow in the footsteps of maybe someone like National Geographic and produce a monthly magazine of their work and research, which could also aid the advertising of their products. Furthermore, the possibility of using the logo alone could have similar effects of that of Nike and their swoosh that we discussed earlier on in the show. It sounds to me that Exoterra is a pretty damn good brand, but with them being smart and taking my advice, they might become an awesome brand. Right folks, that's all we have time for this week. Thank you to all of you who emailed us, and a special thank you to, of course, Mr. Olinki and Mrs. Sheila Sheeberson. Please tune in next week for another awesome topic discussion with me, Dr. Johnny J. So from me to you, go hard or go home. Peace.